Welcome in, everyone. I hope you guys are having a great day wherever you're watching from. I finally feel like I'm almost back to 100% after being sick as a dog for about a week, which is great news. We also have some big news to cover today about the ongoing escalations with Iran and whether or not a strike will happen, specifically a major government official demanding we abandon a diplomatic solution with Iran and instead strike now. He wants to see bombs fall immediately. And we're going to unpack his comments and kind of a little bit of the dangerous game that I feel he's playing. And I'm sure many of you in the comments are going to feel that he is playing as well. Before we get into all of that and more about Iran and whether or not this strike is actually going to happen, please make sure to like and subscribe. Comment with your thoughts below. I love reading your guys' comments. You guys always bring up some great points that I sometimes miss, and I try to work them into future videos. And make sure to hit the bell so you know when a new video is coming. And now let's roll in to the latest update about a potential military conflict with Iran. As many people watching the channel already know, there are ongoing discussions about whether or not a diplomatic solution will be reached with the Iranians over their nuclear program, or if President Donald Trump will choose a military option, which the United States has been prepping for and has staged assets, specifically B-2 stealth bombers at Diego Garcia, which is known as the unsinkable aircraft carrier. It's this little tiny island in the Indian Ocean, and that would be likely where the B-2s would take off from because it is outside of Iranian strike distance if we were to see a strike on Iran. However, there has been significant progress, according to the Trump administration, on reaching a diplomatic solution to the situation, which would mean we would not have to start a military conflict with the Iranians. We would reach some kind of deal. However, it's still unclear as of this video being made, which is April 24th, whether or not we will actually reach a deal or if bombs will fall. So we now have Senator John Fetterman. For those of you who don't know, Senator John Fetterman is a Democrat from Pennsylvania. He's only been in the Senate for a couple years, relatively new. He wants to see military action now. He wants to see Trump abandon any diplomatic solution talks and just hammer the Iranians. This is what he told the Washington Free Beacon. Good outlet, a lot of good friends over there, very trustworthy outlet. They do some great reporting, and they interviewed Fetterman about a potential strike on Iran, and this is what he had to say. So I'm reading directly from the Free Beacon. Let me go ahead and throw this up on the screen for you all. Senator John Fetterman says the Trump administration should drop nuclear negotiations with Iran and finish off the country's nuclear facilities with a military strike. Waste that shit, the Pennsylvania Democrat told the Washington Free Beacon. I love when politicians talk this way. Waste that shit. Like, dude, you're an elected official. Let's show a little professionalism and maybe not talk like a 15-year-old playing Call of Duty, but I digress. So he says, waste that shit, the Pennsylvania Democrat told the Washington Free Beacon in an interview on Wednesday. You're never going to be able to negotiate with that kind of regime that has been destabilizing the region for decades already. And now we have an incredible window, I believe, to do that, to strike and destroy Iran's nuclear facilities. Fetterman dismissed the foreign policy experts, always a good idea to dismiss the experts, who warned that striking Iran could lead to an outbreak of a regional war. Quote, and remember, all of these so-called experts were all wrong, he said. You know, they've been saying for years and years Hezbollah was the ultimate badass that kept Israel in check, and we can't move on anything beyond that. As it turned out, Fetterman said the Iranian proxy group couldn't fight for shit, and Hamas literally are just a bunch of tunnel rats with junky rockets in the back of a Toyota truck. And now the Houthis have been effectively neutered as well, so what's left? You have Iran, and they have a nuclear facility. They actually have more than one, so he doesn't even really know what he's talking about. And it's clearly only for weapons. So that's Fetterman's assessment. He is demanding the United States not waste any time, drop the diplomatic talks, and bomb Iran right now. He wants Trump to hit them immediately. But how realistic is this plan? Is he playing a dangerous game with his rhetoric and with the idea that we're just going to fly in and bomb Iran and nothing else is going to happen? Well, let's unpack that right now. So first, let's talk about what Fetterman actually did get correct with his assessment of the situation. It is true that Iran right now is weakened in a state that they haven't been in a long time for a lot of reasons. Number one, this is the big one. It actually isn't even Hezbollah. It's got nothing to do with the other group in Gaza. I don't even know if I can actually say their name on here without getting in trouble, but it's got nothing to do with those two. That's not the biggest blow. The biggest blow is actually the fall of Bashar al-Assad in Syria, which cuts off the Iranian pipeline into Lebanon, and it also opens Syrian airspace to any planes that want to fly over it because the Iranians are not going to be able to put air defenses there. So he is correct in the sense that Iran has been weakened. There's no question about that. Their proxy groups have absolutely taken a huge hit. However, that does not mean that the United States is going to have a cakewalk when it comes to bombing Iran. And let's remember, the United States has learned painfully a few different times that wars can start one way and then quickly spiral into a different situation. The invasion of Iraq and the war that followed would be a great example. You could look to Afghanistan. Now, some would argue we lost those wars. Well, we didn't even lose Iraq, but let's take Afghanistan. They would argue that we didn't lose it because of our military. We lost it because of political issues and because the Afghanis didn't want to fight. That, of course, is 100% true, but you never know how these things are going to go. Here's the problem, and let's be very sober and open our eyes to the reality on the ground. The only country that can do this, and I've said it before and I will say it again, the only country that can take out the Iranian nuclear program is the United States of America. Israel does not have the bombs. They do not have the heavy bombers to do it, not even close. They have F-35s, F-15s, F-16s, all of that stuff. Great planes. Those planes can certainly carry a hell of a lot of firepower, but Iran's nuclear facilities are deep underground, under mountains. In order to hit those, you need a specific bomb called the GBU-57, which is a 30,000-pound bunker buster, which can be carried by what? The B-2 stealth bomber, which only the United States has, and we will never, ever allow a foreign country to ever get their hands on the B-2 because then it would allow them to study our stealth technology, and of course, our stealth technology is what gives us an edge. For a strike on Iran, you would be looking at multiple packages of B-2 stealth bombers aided by F-18s with electronic jamming systems to take out early warning radar, air defense systems, as well as F-22s and F-35s in support roles in the attack. We are talking about an unprecedented amount of air power that would be needed to take out these underground facilities. Now, can the United States military get that job done? Absolutely, we can get that job done, but it could come at a great cost. Iran has very advanced air defense systems, not like what you might think of when you think of what the United States has, but they have a Russian produced system, which is known as the S-300, which is a very, very formidable system. They also have what is called the Bavar, which is also a very formidable system. Of course, they've never been tested against American aircraft, so they might not hold up at all against our stealth capabilities, but they exist, they are real. And furthermore, any strike you conduct could result in Iran deciding to retaliate against the Saudi oil fields, against our groups, our bases across the region, against the UAE, certainly against the Israelis. And due to the fact that we're going to be the ones who have to carry out this attack, the United States of America, it'll be our blood and treasure that is required to do it, our equipment, our gear, our men, our aircraft, our bombs. Maybe we should think a little harder about saying things other than let's just, quote, waste that shit. It is a very serious situation, which is why the Trump administration is trying to pursue a diplomatic solution here, because as everyone watching this channel knows, combat plans often don't go the way you think they are. Once bombs and bullets start getting fired, all bets are off. And once you're on the escalation ladder, you really don't know what's going to happen. There's no way anyone who says they can predict perfectly how something's going to go should be ignored, because that is idiotic and it's just simply not true whatsoever. They hit the Saudi oil fields. Saudi Arabia retaliates in their own own way, and Iran has a significant missile force, which we all know. Again, can it be defeated? Absolutely. Can the United States military get that job done? Absolutely. Could it come at a great cost? Absolutely. And that's what people need to understand. This is not going to be some easy cakewalk situation. It could spiral out of control. That's not to say it would spiral out of control, but it could spiral out of control. So I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below, how you think a strike against Iran would go. Let me know in the comments, do you want to see a diplomatic solution, or do you want to do what Fetterman is suggesting, which is just bomb Iran right now and, we'll see what happens. As always, I'll catch you guys next time. Make sure to like and subscribe. Hit me with your comments below, and we'll see what happens.